Many thanks for joining me today on Crosstalk. This is Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bassey is my name. Well, let's get down to a very controversial matter in the country at the moment, as President Bola Tinubu has officially launched the groundbreaking of a new annex office complex for the Independent National Electoral Commission in Maitama, Abuja. He emphasized that the project represents more than just infrastructure, and it symbolizes Nigeria's commitment to democratic integrity and institutional independence. In fact, the president reaffirmed Inec's crucial role in conducting credible elections and underscored the government's dedication to equipping the commission with the resources necessary for efficiency and autonomy. He praised the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike for spearheading this initiative, acknowledging his contribution to strengthening Nigeria's democratic foundations. As a matter of fact, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, welcomed the development, highlighting that the new facility would ease overcrowding at the Commission's current headquarters. And Wike clarified, though, that the project was awarded by the Federal Executive Council in March this year and not the Federal Capital Territory Administration. And the acting executive secretary of the Federal Capital Territory, the Federal Capital Development Association, that's Richard Dauda, outlined key features of the five-story complex, and it includes a basement parking, a media center, a library, a museum, and various office accommodations. Previously, you would know, if you've been following things, Wike had faced scrutiny over his decision to build quarters for judges in Abuja, with critics suggesting possible influence over the judiciary, a claim he has denied. And if you recall, Lere Olayinka, his media officer, had reiterated that the Federal Capital Territory Association, the Federal Capital Territory Administration is responsible for maintaining public buildings in the capital. And so with this groundbreaking ceremony conducted and launched by the president, there's been another rousing controversy around the independence of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Well, let's get talking. I've got two gentlemen joining me today. Elijah Jonu Ojo is a civil society advocate. He joins me virtually today on Crosstalk. Many thanks for joining me, Elijah.
Thank you very much, Bassey.
Appreciate you being part of the show. Well, also joining me is Gbenga Yonuga Paul. Gbenga is a political commentator. Gbenga, many thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Appreciate that. All right, let's get down to the conversation, shall we? Let me begin with you, Elijah. This has drawn criticism, especially from the coalition of political parties in the country, who say that the Federal Capital Territory Minister should not be doing this, and this could, further diminish the trust that the public have in the Independent National Electoral Commission. What do you say about this move by the Federal Capital Territory Administration to do this?
As much as such a project should have been generally accepted and applauded by the public, the reverse is the case this time around, in the sense that the Independent National Electoral Commission has lost the trust and confidence of the public. And one would have expected that the government is very much proactive in implementing programs and policies and projects that would boost or raise the confidence or the trust that the public has on the electoral umpire. INEC is not a department, or just it is not a department under any ministry or agency of the government. It is an independent independent government agency, and it is also backed up by relevant provisions of the 1999 Constitution, Chapter 153 precisely, with that, you would expect that its project, especially its capital project, is being budgeted and executed independently without the interference of the Federal Capital Territory Administration's minister. Fine, the minister can embark on road construction, even a building of Aso Villa and the like. But when it comes to an agency like Inec, it should exercise its independent rights, functions, and duties, and not being run like an appendage of Federal Capital Territory.
All right, let me turn to Benga then. Benga, how do you respond to this? Elijah says this should not be the case. This would further erode the confidence the public should have in the Independent National Electoral Commission. What do you say?
Well, I beg to disagree with Elijah, because irrespective of the timing, there is never a good time to do anything in this life. So, and as the saying goes, it is when you wake up that is your good morning. If the government just woke up this time and discovered that they need to expand the workspace of Inec, we know that if they have proper workspace, it will also help the so-called independence of Inec that Mr. Elijah has been harping on, because with better workspace, there will be more privacy, there will be ability to keep their things safely without any interference from anyone. But the fact that people do not or have axe to grind with the government of the day, so whatever the government seems to do, even if it is in the interest of the nation, everybody will always find fault in it. And it is not unusual. Even if Jesus Christ come to rule any country at any moment, the people who are not pleased with his style of leadership always want to fault for the overall benefit of the nation. So I believe that on the long run, this project is going to help improve the independence of INEC and also its ability to carry out its functions unencumbered. Now, talking about the fact that because INEC is an independent institution, it means that they have to be the one constructing their building. I think the law that sets INEC up does not give INEC the mandate to construct building, but to conduct election for the nation. The same thing, you can't say because the judiciary is independent that it is the judiciary arm that should be building courts up and down, that should be building, either magistrate court, high court, or appeal court, or Supreme Court, as the case may be. It has always been part of the purview of the executive to build all these physical structures for them. So I don't know where the noise and hula baloo about.
Should that be the ideal situation, Benga, if the judiciary is allowed to put together its budget on a yearly basis, the legislature allowed to put together its budget, the executive same? Why then should the executive be, constructing buildings for the judiciary? Well, today's conversation is about the judiciary anyway, but you've made your points. You want to quickly land on that.
They are allowed to put forth under the law, the budget they are allowed to put forth under the law, does it extend to building properties? Is it not budget on their expenditures for the year?
The expenditure, Benga, would include, if you need additional courts, if you need additional buildings to make work easy, it should include that. That's part of the expenditure. Right?
Oh
dear, I suppose a little bit of a glitch there, a technical glitch with the network. Let me turn to you, Elijah, real quick, while we hope that connections with Benga would be restored and work smoothly. Elijah, let me come to you. How do you respond? You've heard from Benga. Benga believes this should be the case, but how do you react to that?
Well, what I would have suggested is that if they are to embark on capital projects, of course, why they make necessary budgeting provision. This will be implemented. This should be implemented by Ministry of Works or Ministry of Housing, and not Federal Capital Territory Administration's minister, because there is this public perception that the ruling class is trying or has bought over the judiciary. It has been alleged that that the ruling class has pocketed the judiciary, and now there's also an allegation that they are extending same to electoral umpire. So how do you defend that in the court of public opinion, that really you are not making any advances or any overture to pocket these critical arms or agencies of the government?
Elijah, if you go by the logic of the media officer to the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike, I'm talking about Larry Olayinka. If you go by his logic, it says that infrastructure, buildings within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, is within the purview of the Federal Capital Territory Administration to see to their development in terms of infrastructure within Abuja. What do you say to that? Does that still not give logic to the fact that the Electoral Commission's building is within Abuja, and so it's safe to just have the administration, that's the Federal Capital Territory Administration, just construct it for them?
Okay, it's all right. Well, if I'm to allude with that assertion by the SA or media to FCT minister, then do we then say that the minister should go and renovate the National Assembly for the legislators? If that is not accepted, then why would you want to do such for Inec? And in view of the critical role that Inec plays, the ruling class has to be they have to be careful by the perception that the public has about them. They have to be careful about the way they handle the affairs of an electoral body, because there is this thing that says that he who plays the piper dictates its tone. So when you build an ultra-modern or a new headquarters for the electoral umpire, how then do you then prove to the public that they can be free, fair, and credible election without them or without whoever is at the helms of affair being biased towards the ruling party? All
right, let me turn to Benga. It's Crosstalk, this Enterprise Television, and we're talking the construction of an additional workspace, an annex, if you like, for the Independent National Electoral Commission. This is facilitated by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. They're funding this construction, and this was, according to the administration, approved by the Federal Executive Council back in March. We're evaluating priorities really for government agencies in the country. Should the Federal Capital Territory Administration be funding the construction of a headquarters, of a building, of infrastructure for the Independent National Electoral Commission? Again, I'm joined by Benga Yonuga Paul, a political commentator, and Elijah Jan Ojo, a civil society advocate. Well, gentlemen, thank you again for joining me. Benga, just as we struggle a little bit with the network situation, Elijah had mentioned, trying to debunk, or more like tackle, for want of better words, the logic by the immediate officer to the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike. I'm talking Larry Olayinka, who had said that, it is only logical that infrastructure within the Federal Capital Territory be facilitated by the administration there. What do you say? Elijah says no, that should not be the case. If that's the case, why not go construct buildings for the judiciary, for the legislature, for example. We've seen them do so for the judiciary. That has received backlash. But what do you say? Is it logical for the Federal Capital Territory Administration to be funding the construction of these headquarters for a workspace for INEC?
There is nothing illogical about it. I remember when my hometown wanted, before they phased out all these night posts, before social media and telephony network improvement phased out night posts. My hometown, the association in my hometown, came together and decided to build night post office for Nigerian Postal Service in my hometown. The same thing, if not for the government law that does not allow us to build many of our roads in my hometown. All the street light in my hometown is funded by the youth association in my hometown. So if the Federal Capital Authority sees the need for them to say, okay, we want INEC that is functional, we want INEC that is capable and trustworthy, and we know that one of the things they lack is the infrastructure in terms of building where they can keep their properties and material, and then they decide to go ahead and build it for them. There is nothing, it still does not affect the independence of INEC or ability of INEC to function. It does not make INEC an appendage of the government. You see, it is just the mindset that an average Nigerian has, that once you give gifts to somebody, then that person is becomes your slave or is indebted to you in one way or the other. But the question that I would ask is that the money that Fcta is using to build INEC's office, is it the Fcta Minister for Federal Capital Territory, is it his father's money or is it his personal money? If it is not his personal money or his father's money, I think it's still within the right of his office to be able to build it. People just have this mindset because of the general setting in the country where people believe that he's not doing INEC a favor. He's not doing INEC a favor. He's doing his duty as the executive arm of the government, saddled with the responsibility to provide infrastructure to institutions such as this. So, and if INEC is not opposing or is in need of that thing, and they are not saying we don't need it, like is not forcing it on them. So I don't see why anybody should say it is bad, because don't forget, government come, government go. PDP bragged that they were going to stay in office for 60 years, but after 16 years, they were booted out. Another government is going to come tomorrow. If APC like, they can do 8 years of this Ashiwaju. Another government will still come tomorrow and be in government. And when the party come and they are in government, you will see that the INEC will remain.
All right.
The INEC chairman today will be gone, but the INEC will remain. And that is why we should not say we shouldn't build infrastructure because somebody we don't like is there at the moment.
Elijah, well, how do you respond to this? You have your time now.
Well, my colleague is, while I agree with him in some areas, you see, we have to be very careful because the global world is, observing and reading, seeing the way we conduct affairs in governance. He alluded to the fact that the money that will be spent or allocated towards the development of independent electoral commissions, from the pool of people. If that is the case, then why does it ownership of public assets, public infrastructures, conference center? But he did it. Why?
A bit of a challenge.
A democratically elected president. The notion of democratically elected president is now named such a national edifice.
Is it today that they've been naming national edifice after president, both past and present? There's nothing special. It is not today that they've been naming national edifices after presidents, both past and present. We have, during Jonathan time, there are many roads, there are many edifices in Abuja there that were named after him. The same thing, Yaradua. I mean, the Musa Yaradua Convention Center. Is it not a public property?
I mean, just sticking with this logic. Just sticking with your logic a little bit, were those projects named after previous presidents, were they new projects or renovated projects? In this case, there's a lot of clamor or talk against the renaming of the International Conference Center after the president, because this was constructed so many years ago, more than 3 decades now, by the Ibrahim Babangida administration, if you like. But it wasn't named after the man who was in charge of governance at the time. Why renovate now?
Many of the universities that are renamed, many of the universities that are renamed after national figures, were they named after those national figures immediately they were constructed? Most, they have their name. My own university where I finished from is Ogun State University. It was renamed after many years after Olabisi Onabanjo, the governor who was on seat when that school was founded. The same thing, Taisho Larin University Education. It was Ogun State College of Education, or what was its name that time? You know, before it became University of Education. Then when they name it Taisho Larin University of Education, the Taske, that's Taisho Larin College of Education, they renamed it after Awujale as Osco
Scope Governance
College of Technology. So it is not today that they've been naming national treasure. If we don't like somebody, let's say we don't like somebody. If we have misgiving about somebody, let's say we have misgiving. Let's not be hiding behind one finger to say everything they do is bad. There are better issues that we should complain about than they are building this structure. That structure, Wike will not take it to his father's house in Port Harcourt when he's leaving office. Wike might not even do second term as a FCTA minister. They might redeploy him. He might not even be in the cabinet at all when the cabinet is reconvened again. Who even gives you assurance that he will finish first term as FCTA minister? But whatever infrastructure he has done will benefit Nigerians. There are Nigerians who are not born right now, who are still going to work in Inec, who are going to enjoy the benefit of that structure being put in place. So let's face facts.
Elijah, again, well, just before we wrap the show, I'd like to get your final thought, Elijah, in responding to Benga's point of view and indeed your, parting shot, if you like, regarding on this.
I'm very much happy when he made reference to the likes of Bola Onabanjo, Taisho Larin and the likes. These edifices and monuments and government facilities were not named. They were not named by when Bola Onabanjo was in office. No, it was after he had left that the succeeding government felt that we need to immortalize this person. We need to honor this person due for his selfless contribution towards the advancement of the society. Taisho Larin wasn't the one who named the College of Education after him. Neither was the Aujala Vijabu who named the College of Education that has been named after him. No, it is the government of the day that thought that for the monumental advance and contribution of these people to the society, we need to immortalize them. Not a sitting president immortalizing himself while in office with public fund. To me, it's, I don't know.
It might feel somehow, but there's nothing special about it, my brother. A president comes today, names International Convention Center after himself. Another president can come tomorrow and rescind that name. That is why government is continuum. So we shouldn't. Those are not issues that we should be, getting our head walked over. But because for me personally, I feel that even all these civil society organization and all the rest, most of the time, the reason why their argument, the government is able to rubbish their argument, is that there is a form of sentiment in their argument. And you see, rather than focus on the meat of their discussion, because government agencies will be able to spot that sentiment that, now because they don't like us now, because if now this person do this thing, they no go complain. So government will now distract us by saying it's because they don't like us. But the issue is, there is nothing special about Inec getting a building from Fcta. There is nothing special about a sitting president. When Muhammadu Buhari was the president, there was an estate constructed by Ogun State government along Abeokuta. If you are entering Abeokuta, it was named after Muhammadu Buhari till tomorrow. Another government can come in Ogun State tomorrow and say, why would Amosun name it? And I mean, if I become governor, I can decide to change the name. It doesn't. Government is continual. But the fact is that the estate has already been constructed and people will benefit it. Whatever name you put there tomorrow is inconsequential. What is consequential is that a lot of people are going to benefit from it. And I believe that having this building constructed for Inec will help Inec carry out its function better. Wike will go, Asiwaju will go, even you and I will go. God might even give us opportunity to become president. If we like, let us spend 20 years and become like Pobia. We will still go, no. But those infrastructure that have been put in place will remain for the benefit of Nigerians that are going to come after us.
Okay, Elijah, I'd like to thank you so much for being a part of the conversation today, as well as Benga. It's been a good time discussing this, and of course, different sides on this matter, different coins, different opinions, but still for the good of the nation. And that's the good thing about Crosstalk, as we have various views. We still come together to discuss them, and at the end of the day, whether we can agree or not, we do this for the good of the nation, because we're patriotic citizens wanting the very best for the nation. We've been talking about evaluating priorities and posing the fundamental question if the Federal Capital Territory Administration should be funding the construction of additional workspace for the Independent National Electoral Commission. And I've been joined by Elijah Ajanu Tojo, a civil society advocate. I'd like to thank you again, Elijah, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate that. Benga Yonuga Paul, many thanks too. Benga is a political commentator. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's great sharing this conversation.
Appreciate that. Of course, you can virtually, please just have a handshake virtually, and let's know that this is, of course, for public good. Thank you, gentlemen. You are chopping knuckle virtually. Okay, that's fine. That too works. Many thanks again, gentlemen. Well, you can stop by the comment section, Nigeria. It doesn't matter where you're watching from. Just stop by the comment section. Let's know what you think. Do you agree with Benga, or you agree with Elijah on this conversation? Just stop by there. Let's know your thoughts. We'll be reading and, of course, responding to your thought. And I'm sure both gentlemen too will be responding to your thoughts as you talk about this. That's Crosstalk for you today. You've been watching Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bassi is my name. Until next time on Crosstalk, please continue to be patriotic as much as you can, and we hope that God continues to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye for now.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.